Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Chris Jericho makes his SmackDown Live debut. Chris Jericho most probably makes his SmackDown Live exit. And watch out, badly dressed people. The fashion police are on the case. I'm Oli Davis, and I should have worn that denim jacket again to get in with Breezango. This is the 2nd of May 2017 edition of SmackDown Live in about 4 minutes. Shane McMahon kicked off the show by introducing the latest addition to the SmackDown Live roster, the new United States champion, Chris Jericho. Showing how much of a placeholder Y2J is, the segment was mainly built around AJ Styles and Kevin Owens brawling over his US title. Shane McMahon has a new gimmick, appearing behind heels when they're talking trash about something. In a clip from earlier that day, Jinder Mahal was getting a photo shoot with the WWE Championship belt. For McMahon to emerge from outer stage left and say titles are earned round here. Jinder later took on Sami Zayn in his first real test since becoming SmackDown's #1 contender. Despite a few sloppy spots, Mahal carried himself well, and the Singh brothers do make him appear like a bigger threat. Jinder won with their distraction, as he should have. Now he's free of losing quick matches as part of the Vaudevillains. Aiden English can now lose quick matches as a solo act. Tye Dillinger squashed him in just over a minute, prompting Aiden to break down in tears. My worst fears have been confirmed. WWE are calling the new Natalya, Tamina and Carmella faction the Welcoming Committee. Completely unthreatening name aside, this was the best segment of the show, with Charlotte being taken out before their tag match, leaving Naomi against Natalya and Carmella by herself. Charlotte limped down eventually, but her and Naomi couldn't overcome the previous advantage. The heels beat them down until Becky Lynch slowly walked to the ring, brilliantly teasing she'd side with the Welcoming Committee. Instead, she took them all on, but unfortunately also couldn't overcome the numbers game. This continues to be a very good storyline despite the Welcoming Committee's lack of star power and god-awful name. Before beating Turquoise Cara in a short match, building him for Shinsuke Nakamura at Backlash, Dolph Ziggler was trash-talking the King of Strong Style backstage. I refuse to call him the artist. This, of course, led to Shane McMahon emerging from outer stage left to remind Ziggler of Shinsuke Nakamura's name. To build up Breezango for their tag team championship opportunity, SmackDown is giving them the Rhino and Heath Slater treatment. Pre-taped comedy sketches. Their Fashion Police skit was a pretty funny parody of Law and Order, but instead of investigating various sexual crimes while making insightful pieces of social commentary, they went after people who dress bad. The skit had some cracking jokes, like accusing the Usos of jaywalking and Jimmy walking, and a picture in the background with the colognes wanted for real estate fraud. Finishing their trilogy of matches with one win apiece, Kevin Owens took on Chris Jericho again for the United States Championship. The two went 10 minutes in a decent match, but they haven't been able to transition the magic of their segments and angles into their in-ring action. This main event proved just that yet again, with KO's psychotic and emotional beatdown of Jericho after regaining the US title being better than their actual match. This is surely a way to write Y2J off television while he leaves to tour with his band Fozzy. And you know what happens, Chris Jericho? You know what happens when you have one of the best runs of your career, getting us all through several months of terrible, terrible Raws? You know what happens when you have one of the most emotional WWE segments of all time with the Festival of Friendship, Chris Jericho? Do you, Chris Jericho? You just made my thank you list. So that was this week's SmackDown Live in about 4 minutes. Here's the usual ratings recap from top to bottom. Smack damn, smacktastic, smack bang in the middle, Ellsworthy, and Raw. I'll reveal my score very shortly, but first, vote in the poll above my head to give it your own rating. I'll announce the results in tomorrow's WrestleTalk news. This episode was a perfectly fine 2 hours of WWE, with decent enough wrestling and its angles being steadily built. But with Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Luke Harper all left off the show, with Styles only briefly appearing in the opening segment, the night felt heavily lacking in star power. This week's SmackDown is smack bang in the middle. Watch my review of this week's episode of Raw, where I mostly ask, where is Brock Lesnar? And find out a whole load of backstage details from Payback, including what Vince McMahon thought of the House of Horrors match, by clicking the videos to the left and subscribe. I've been Oli Davis, and that was wrestling.